First of all, I would like to thank the management of this Premier Institute, Cummins College, and especially to Bharat Bhushan Joshi sir and Prasanna Mahankar sir for giving me an opportunity to share whatever limited knowledge I have in solar photovoltaic and renewable energy. This FDB has been organized very well through the Cummins College, and I have gone through some of the topics. So those topics were solar thermal, hydrofuel, biofuel, geothermal, and electric vehicle charging system. Only solar photovoltaic was remaining, so we will discuss the solar photovoltaic technology in our presentation. So today's discussion will be generally on RE technology, RE scenario in India, and solar PV technology. So this is the agenda of today's presentation, that is global renewable energy scenario. We will look after especially on solar photovoltaic, then Indian power sector status, what is solar photovoltaic technology, some technical details, and what we are doing at Mahametro. So first, global RE scenario. If you look at the renewable energy global capacity, then in terms of total renewable energy potential, then we are in the top 5 countries, followed by United States and Germany. Japan, UK also are there, and India. And in terms of solar photovoltaic, we are again in top 5, followed by United States, Germany, Japan, and then India. If you look at the capacity addition trends in 2018, actually this is this RAIN 21 report. This is the latest report available. Next report will be available in June 2020. So if you look at the capacity addition trends, then here also for solar photovoltaic technology, we are among the top 2 nations. First is China, and we are sharing the second berth with United States. If you look at the share of renewable energy in net annual additions of power generating capacity, then from 2008 to 2018, the graph is increasing, and the total renewable energy capacity is increasing year by year. If you look at the RE capacity addition by technology, then here is the solar is the leader, followed by wind power and hydropower. So solar photovoltaic is because why it is the leader, we can say this is the best and best technology which can be implemented faster and don't have any maintenance issues. So there are no moving parts in solar photovoltaic. Such and however, in wind, hydropower, there are turbines and other rotating part. That's why the O&M is bit difficult than solar photovoltaic technology. That's why solar photovoltaic is the best RE technology which can be increased at very fast pace. If you look at the renewable energy share, that is energy generation share, then here the share is about 26% all over the world. It means 26% of renewable energy we are consuming out of our total energy consumption. But here the leader in renewable energy share is hydropower, followed by wind power and solar, followed by solar PV. We will see the increase of solar PV in near future, and it will definitely will be the first or second energy provider in coming years. If you look at the estimated direct and indirect jobs created in renewable energy sector and especially solar PV, then it is the third prominent sector. India is among the top 3 countries who are providing who is providing jobs to the renewable energy personnel, and solar photovoltaic. In solar photovoltaic, nearly 115,000 jobs are created every year. If you look at the Indian energy scenario, then it is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It ranks third in the total electricity generation after China and USA. Still, we are having a very low per capita energy consumption. It is about 2 units per day per person. If we compare it with the developed countries such as Canada and USA, then it is the gap is very huge. So we have to move at fast pace. Then a third largest coal producer after China and USA, yet we are a net importer of coal. So we have very good scope in providing renewable energy. Then more than 25% of our primary energy needs are still made from crude oil and gas. And so accelerated development of energy sector is important. And we have the potential for increasing our per capita consumption with the help of renewable energy. So if we look at the Indian energy sector, Indian power sector, then the total installed capacity as on 31st March is about 370 gigawatt, out of which 87 gigawatt is from renewable energy. Here the leader is again thermal power. 230 gigawatt is being generated or installed from the coal-fired power plants and other thermal power, followed by hydro power projects 45 gigawatt, and nuclear is still increasing in our total installed capacity. Look at the bifurcation of renewable energy. Then here the leader is wind, but solar is not far behind. Wind is having 37 gigawatt of installed capacity, and solar is having 34 gigawatt of installed capacity as on 31st March. If you look at the space of development of wind and solar, then solar is very rapidly increasing, because wind, I think, has started in the year 1950 and onwards, because windmill were present in those days also. But solar has started operation in India, I think, in 2006-7. So within the span of 15 years, we have come very we have very good space of installation, and in the near future we will see solar will be the leader in renewable energy installation in India. Then hydropower is there, small hydro. Actually, if we see small hydro and bioenergy and waste to energy, then small hydro is only considered as renewable up to 25 megawatt capacity, because there is a if we go to the project which are having capacity more than 25 megawatt, then those projects have flora and fauna effect and rehabilitation and resettlement issues. That's why those projects which are having capacity more than 25 megawatt are not considered renewable. Even though last year Government of India has given the renewable energy status to the project having more than 25 megawatt capacity, but those projects have a major impact on flora and fauna of the river and rehabilitation and resettlement issues. That's why we were considering hydro projects of less than 25 megawatt capacity as renewable energy projects. Then if you look at the biomass, hello?
Sir, your PPT is on presentation mode.
Yeah. So is it okay?
Make it full screen.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
If we see wind projects. Then wind, there are the issues are the major sites, which actually those are coastal areas only. Major generation will happens at coastal areas like in states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. Uh, but as we are moving forward, those prominent sites are being exhausted, and right now actually the PPA, the power purchase agreements, are signed for 25 years with the local discoms. So the earlier, what used to happen is the turbine size was only 50 meter or less than that, and the capacity of each turbine was about 500 kilowatt, 600 kilowatt, not more than that. So the earlier prominent sites are having the wind turbines installed of smaller capacities. Today, we can see the turbines of capacity 1 megawatt each, 2 megawatt each are also available. So the prominent sites at which the earlier capacity is installed is having smaller capacities. So, and the PPAs are signed with the discom. So those sites we cannot explore until and unless those earlier projects are scrapped. But right now, as I told that the turbines are available with higher capacities also, and 100 and 120-meter hub height. Hub height is the height at which the turbine is installed. Installed. So the turbines are available with 1 or 2 megawatt capacity each. Small hydro, as I already told you, that small hydro up to 25 megawatt are considered as small hydro power projects. Then biomass comes from farm waste, bagasse based cogeneration. Actually, cogeneration, everyone must be aware of. Cogeneration is where the heat and power are produced in the same plant. So it is called cogeneration, and it is generally bagasse-based cogeneration with the help of sugarcane residue. Then waste to energy and solar photovoltaic and solar thermal. We will see the details in the next few PPTs. So what are the India's energy challenges are? We can see these are the challenges, or these are the opportunities also for us to move ahead. We are still having an electricity shortage. Many people are having a problem with access of electricity. India is still dependent on oil imports for 80% of its demand. Climate change is an important issue, and according to UNFCCC, we have to reduce our emission level to the from 2005 base onwards. And in next 12 years, India's electricity requirement to grow at 2.5 times. So we have those opportunity. We are still having a shortage of electricity, and with the help of renewable energy, we can achieve this. So government of India has set the target as 175 gigawatt in the 2015. Earlier, it used to the target of solar photovoltaic was 20 gigawatt by 2022, but this government has changed the target from 20 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt by 2022. And we have we have the renewable energy potential available also. Wind at 302 gigawatt, and as I earlier mentioned, that the hub height of the turbines is about 100 meter, and at 100 meter hub height, the wind energy potential is 300, more than 300 gigawatt. Solar potential is 750 gigawatt. Small hydro is 20 gigawatt, and biomass and cogeneration is 23 gigawatt. So the target set by the government of India is solar 100 gigawatt, wind 60 gigawatt, bioenergy and small hydro 10 and 5 gigawatt respectively. So in the near future, solar will be the leader in the renewable energy scenario. So why solar power? Why government of India has set the target more than any renewable energy technology? Because India is endowed with vast solar energy potential. As we have seen, it is about 750 gigawatt. Then about 5,000 trillion units per year energy is incident over India's land area. Uh, as per one of estimate, only half an hour of sun energy in a day uh, can fulfill the total in world's demand. So we can imagine how much energy or how much energy we can take from sun. So most part of the country receives 4 to 7 kilowatt hour per square meter per day. That is very good in if we compare the total average in the world. That is 4 units to 7 units can be generated in 1 square meter area in India per day. So there are two routes for technology conversion. One is solar radiation into heat, that is solar thermal, and other is solar photovoltaic. Solar thermal will be discussed by one of the prominent faculties, Mr. Joshi, in the next few days. So we will be just touching upon the solar thermal technology. Otherwise, we will see solar photovoltaic technology in some details. So solar thermal, there are some types of technologies like solar thermal plants using parabolic trough. If we see there are absorber tubes and there are reflecting mirrors. Those when sunlight falls on the reflectors, then it is concentrated on the center tube and the heat is generated, and with the help of it, heat and steam can be generated and power can be generated. Second is solar thermal plants using power tower. Here the surrounding area is covered with reflecting mirrors, and the reflecting when solar energy falls on those mirrors, it is reflected at the center, at the top of the tower, and where the liquid is gets heated and steam is generated, and steam is helped to rotate the turbine, and accordingly energy is generated. So solar photovoltaic technology, there are two types of solar photovoltaic technology available. One is crystalline silicon, and another is thin film. In crystalline silicon also there are two types of technologies. One is monocrystalline and one is multicrystalline or polycrystalline. And thin film technology is based, actually these technologies are dependent on the type of material used for the production of solar photovoltaic cells. So thin film technology, in which silicon is the base material, then amorphous silicon, cadmium telluride, copper, indium, gallium diselenide. These are the type of solar photovoltaic technology depending on the material used. Monocrystalline and multicrystalline technology, these are the main and prominent technologies which are being used. More than 90% of the total world installation is from multicrystalline or polycrystalline technology. Actually, the difference between monocrystalline and polycrystalline is mono is the purest form of silicon, and multicrystalline or polycrystalline there is some impurity is there. But even though the impurity is also that's why the cost is also cheaper. We will see the details in the different technology in the upcoming slides. So the process of technology, so preparing the solar photovoltaic cell and system is, first the polysilicon is there. Then with the help of polysilicon, ingots are prepared. Ingots are nothing but a cylindrical shape of the material, and small slices are cut from that ingot, making it in the form of wafers, and those wafers are converted to solar cells. Then solar cells are arranged in some series and parallel manners to make solar modules, and solar modules again arranged in series and parallel to form a solar array and system of solar photovoltaic system. So I think everyone here is I think science student and must be aware of the PN junction diode and all those things. So we can see this in brief that when sunlight energy which is nothing but a photon energy falls on a PN junction diode. Actually in PN junction and in N type phosphorus doping is there, which is having some free electrons, and in P type boron doping is there, which are also having some three free electrons. So with the help of this, the photon, when that is sunlight energy, when falls on this, the free electrons get excited, and with the help of that PN junction, the electron flows and ultimately the currents get generated. This is the simple technology, everyone must be aware of it. So as I told you that this is nothing but a photon, and some of the photon energy gets absorbed partly, and some gets reflected, and some gets converted into electricity. Photon is sunlight, voltaic is electric energy. That's why the system, or the technology is called solar photovoltaic technology. There are two types of solar photovoltaic or solar power system. One is standalone and other is grid connected. In standalone system, to start and operate the system, we need some input. So the batteries are connected in the standalone system, and in the grid connection system, grid is initially used to start the system, and so there is no need of battery. Right now, with the help of net metering mechanism, grid connected system are more popular because there is no major maintenance. But in standalone system, maintenance and cost increases due to the batteries which are provided in the standalone system. So these are the type of solar cells: monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and thin film. With the naked eye also we can see the difference between monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and thin film. Monocrystalline is a single cell. Polycrystalline, there is some impurity is there, and we can bifurcate between monocrystalline and polycrystalline. And thin film is nothing but a film installed on a substrate. So we can see the difference between first one is monocrystalline, second one is polycrystalline or multicrystalline, and third one is thin film technology. So this is the slide which differentiates between. Oh, sorry. Visible now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
So the monocrystalline, polycrystalline, what are the different aspects of these monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and amorphous and thin? That is, last three are thin film, amorphous, cadmium telluride, and copper, indium, gallium diselenide. So if we look at the module efficiency, then it is highest in monocrystalline technology, moderate in polycrystalline, and lowest in thin film technology. In research phase also, the monocrystalline is having highest efficiency, about 25%, and area required for the monocrystalline technology is less compared to polycrystalline and thin film technology. So where actually the thin film technology is cheaper than the monocrystalline and polycrystalline. Everyone has its advantage and disadvantages. Monocrystalline, even though it is having best efficiency and less area required, but the cost is higher than the polycrystalline and thin film technology. So thin film technology is used where there is no constraint of use of the area requirement is very huge in the thin film technology. So if there is no constraint on the area available, then we can go for thin film technology also. Typically everyone provides warranty up to 25 years. Then temperature resistance, yes, uh, Actually, the monocrystalline technology is having a higher temperature resistance. But it is less than polycrystalline technology. That is, every degree rise in temperature, the efficiency of the monocrystalline decreases more than the polycrystalline technology, and the most tolerable to the extreme heat is thin film technology. But considering all the advantages and disadvantages, as I have told you, polycrystalline technology is used all over the world in maximum potential, and about 90% of the total energy is total solar system installed are polycrystalline, because it is moderate on every aspect. So if you can monocrystalline oldest technology, but it is as it is the purest form of crystalline silicon. So the silicon is wasted in this technology, but in polycrystalline less wastage is produced. So it is preferable in the help of manufacturing sector also. So and maximum installed capacity is from polycrystalline technology. As I have told you that this is the mostly used, so thin film and monocrystalline are less available in the market compared to polycrystalline technology. So I just want to tell you one thing: how to design a solar system for your own home. You can note down it if required. So there are two ways to design a solar system for your own home. First is look at all the instruments, whatever installed at your home, and see their power ratings. What is the power rating, and accordingly how much is the use per day, and calculate the energy consumption from all those equipments, and accordingly design the system. Or second way is simple: take your electricity bill, see what is the average energy consumption per month and per day, and remember one thumb rule: one solar photovoltaic polycrystalline 1 kilowatt of solar photovoltaic polycrystalline system produce generally 4 units per day per kilowatt. So that is 4 units are generated in one day with the help of 1 kilowatt solar photovoltaic system. So check your electricity bill. If we, for example, it is generally our connected load in the our contract demand in our electricity bill is about 3 to 5 kilowatt for smaller homes. So 3 to 5 kilowatt, we can install 3 kilowatt solar photovoltaic system at our home, and it will generate nearly 3 into 4, that is 12 units per day per kilowatt. 12 units in 3 kilowatts. So and the cost is around 45,000 to 50,000 per kilowatt, and 40% subsidy from the central government is available on this up to 3 kilowatt, and from 4 to 10 kilowatt 20% subsidy is available. But this is central government subsidy provided from MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. But if you look at the Maharashtra policy on this provision of subsidy, from last 1 year, it is not available. MNRE, that is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, has provided this subsidy in March 2019 itself, but Maharashtra is yet to come up with the policy decision on this provision of subsidy. So everyone is awaiting, and the installation are stalled in Maharashtra at some extent because of non-availability of subsidy. But hope it will be started in this financial year, and 40% subsidy is available. So and 45,000 to 50,000 cost per kilowatt for the total system. We can go for two types of the manufacturer for solar photovoltaic modules are preferable are solar Vikram Solar and Vari Energy, and for the inverters are Delta inverters, Schneider, and then Fronius. Fronius is a Japanese inverter manufacturer. So these are some best inverters. K-Star and all those are also available. So we can install solar Vikram Solar or Vari Solar modules, and there's Fronius or Delta or ABB or Schneider. These inverters from these and can go for the solar photovoltaic system for our home. Imagine 12 kilowatt of energy is required our home per day. So 3 kilowatt system is sufficient. And if our requirement is, because see, the generation happens mostly from morning 10 to evening 4. So if in these hours our requirement is low, then with the help of net metering arrangement, we can export the additional energy to the grid, and whenever we have requirement, that is during night time or during evening, we can take those units back from the grid. So this is the net metering arrangement. This is the net metering guidelines are there for Maharashtra, provided by MERC, Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission. So with the help of this, we can install and design our system. If there is any question, you can drop in this question answer box. So support mechanism available for renewable power in India is feed-in tariffs. Feed-in tariff is a specific tariff available to RE technologies. That is somewhat higher than the APPC, average power purchase cost of the DISCOM, distribution company. So there is specific tariff, some higher tariff available to the renewable energy technologies. Then accelerated depreciation, wherein the plants are depreciated at fastest rate in order to pay less taxes. So accelerated depreciation is also available. Then renewable purchase obligations, RPOs. RPOs are RPO is renewable purchase agreement, which is obligation provided to the DISCOM. That is, suppose in Maharashtra MSEDCL. MSEDCL is having some RPOs. Through RPOs, the government has mandated DISCOM to purchase some percentage of its total energy consumption from renewable energy. In the year 1920, 3.5% of total energy consumption should be purchased from solar, and remaining 11.5% of total energy consumption is to be purchased from wind energy. That is 15% of their total energy distribution or consumption should be purchased from renewable energy projects. This is the RPO. And REC also, REC is renewable energy certificates. If IPP, that is independent power producer, installed a solar or wind or any renewable energy projects, then if he is selling the power not in feed-in tariff, and if he is selling power at APPC rate or some other rate, as agreed between any consumer and the developer, that is IPP, then for every 1000 unit of energy generated, he can claim an REC, and those RECs are nothing but a certificate which can be traded on a power exchange platform, that is IEX and PXIL, Indian Energy Exchange and Power Exchange of India Limited. So those REC certificates can be traded on the platforms, and he can generate, the IPP can generate an additional revenue. Some exemptions are there and incentives are also there. 10-year tax holiday, that is renewable energy developer has to pay lower tax, that is minimum alternate tax, rather than the corporate tax, to the government. Then some exemptions on excise and custom duty available from the government of India. Still, as we have already seen, we are having power shortage. So there is a scope for installation of more and more renewable energy projects. Many states have formulated their RE policies in line with Government of India. As Government of India set target of generation of 175 gigawatt from renewable energy in the year by the year 2022. Maharashtra government has also set a target of generation of installation of 14,000 megawatt of renewable energy projects by the year 2022. So this we have already discussed. Then this 100 gigawatt, out of this 100 gigawatt, 40 gigawatt is to come from rooftop projects, rooftop solar photovoltaic projects, and remaining 60 gigawatt is to come from large scale projects, which are from PSUs, entrepreneurs, and large power sectors. SECI, Solar Energy Corporation of India, IREDA, Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency. Through all these companies, remaining 60 gigawatt is planned, and 40 gigawatt is planned from rooftop solar energy. My request to all of you is install rooftop solar energy at your own home, and within a span of 6 to 7 years, we can have a payback of our system. Means after 6 to 7 years, your system will be free, will get free. So you don't have to pay any charges to utility, and your energy will be exported in the grid, and you can use that energy through net metering arrangement. And it is the best option available to us to install solar rooftop photovoltaic system at our homes. And commercial, if so, some people might be from commercial must be having commercial establishments, colleges. So you can also install solar photovoltaic system on your roofs, and from that you can not only reduce your energy bills, but can even generate some extra energy and feed to the grid, and can have additional revenue out of it. For solar photovoltaic rooftop system, I request everyone to install on their own rooftops. And if by the end of this seminar, if at least 10% of you install the rooftop solar photovoltaic system, then I think it is the best. I have delivered a best seminar on this topic. So this is just an this photograph is just to give an idea about how a solar park looks like. This is a Gujarat Solar Park in Charanka. Then this is a 150 megawatt plant in Nimuch. So what are the recent developments or steps taken by Government of India? Is renewable accorded a priority sector lending status by RBI. So you get loan will get prioritized. Then RBI stipulate loan for rooftop solar photovoltaic to be considered as part of home loan. Even you can claim the to install the solar photovoltaic system. The loan can be taken from the banks in the form of home loans. Then as I discussed, RPO and RSEs are being enforced from various governments, various regulatory commissions to the local DISCOM. Most states announced their policy for solar rooftop. Increase in coal sales from 100 rupees per metric ton to 200 rupees per metric ton by central government, and this additional sales will be used to promote renewable energy in India. Then IREDA, PFC, REC, Power Finance Corporation, Renewable Energy Rural Electrification Corporation, and IREDA are raising their tax-free bonds and raising fund for promotion of renewable energy. NCF, National Clean Energy Fund is also available to promote renewable energy projects in India. So what Nagpur Metro is doing in order to promote renewable energy and especially solar energy. In our vision statement itself, we have used energy efficient and green energy words. So we have already our vision, in your vision we have set the target to utilize the full potential of green energy in the form of solar, wind, etc., whatever renewable energy is available, and we want to fulfill our 65% of total energy requirement from solar energy. And this 65% energy requirement is also running the trains and meeting the daily energy needs of stations and all auxiliary load. So mission is to provide safe, reliable, efficient, affordable, commuter friendly and environmental sustainable rapid public transport system in Nagpur metro region. Environmental sustainable system can only be created with the help of renewable energy projects. In one of the studies, it has mentioned that in Delhi there was a study conducted by some IIT, I think IIT Delhi. Then it says actually if we go for metro system, then obviously it will reduce the emission level compared to the road transport. But overall impact of the metro system on air pollution crucially depends on how the electricity needed to drive the drive the metro is generated. And if it is not cleanly generated, that is if it is not from solar or wind or any such renewable energy project, then the offset created with the help of metro system will be totally will be decreased on will not be very beneficial overall. That is the generation, the running of the trains and use for the station should be from renewable energy. Then only there will be a significant decrease in emission level of a city. That's why Mahametro has decided to procure or to use maximum renewable energy from solar energy. So we have already from the inception stage itself decided to install solar energy, and the Mahametro has started its work in 2015, and in 2016 itself we have installed some pilot projects at our Metro House office, and even at Metro Bhavan Nagpur we have installed 273 kilowatt of solar photovoltaic system. Why we have decided to go for harnessing more solar energy? Because our roofs, the stations, the 45 stations are available in Nagpur Metro. So those rooftops are available for installation of solar photovoltaic system. And as per our estimates, more than 1,40,000 square meter of roof area will be created in Nagpur Metro, and on which we will be installing about 14 megawatt of solar photovoltaic project. And out of this 14 megawatt, we will be meeting more than 65% of total energy requirement, including for running trains. These are the opportunities that Metro Rail creates. Large rooftop, prices of solar PV modules are falling. Good solar radiation in the city, that is 5 units per meter square per day. And utility cost, that is cost of power from Discom, local Discom is higher. It is around 10 to 12 rupees per unit, and we are getting solar energy from 3 to 3.5 rupees per unit. So there is a difference of 6 to 7 rupees per unit, and accordingly we will be saving more than our 40% of O&M cost in the form by using solar energy. But there are some challenges, because if we install the plant on the roof of the metro station, then there may be water leakage potential. So to avoid potential water leakage, we have to take some precautions. Then installation of solar PV system on track wall. Actually, this is, I think, first time in India we are installing a solar photovoltaic system on track wall. Track wall is nothing but a boundary wall at our at-grade section, and solar photovoltaic system are being mounted. Currently a 300 kilowatt project is going on, and 50 kilowatt has already been started generation. And this 50 kilowatt, the 50 kilowatt system is rotating type, means is a tracking system installed on track wall. The tracking systems initially in the morning it faces sun in the east, and by the time of evening the panels are rotated in the west side, so that the maximum energy can be generated from those solar photovoltaic plants. And we are first time I can say proudly that Nagpur Metro is the first metro in India to install solar photovoltaic system on track walls and boundary wall. But there is a challenge of cleaning solar photovoltaic system on boundary wall, because on the outer side there are some actually it is a public space, and inner side train movement is there. So we are finding some solution, automatic cleaning solution, where wiper the system like automatic cleaning of the panels can happen once he sense the modules are dirty. And one thing I would like to tell you, there is no maintenance cost involved in solar photovoltaic system, as you have to clean only the system in 15 days or 20 days time with the only water. Raw water can be used to clean the solar panels. As such, there is no other maintenance issues are there. So we are generating the solar system at 415 volt auxiliary side, and we have to use it at 25 kV level for train running and 33 kV for auxiliary purpose, and net metering will be at 132 kV level. So from generation at 415 volt we have to export the energy at 132 kV level for any surplus. So these are the targets of Nagpur Metro. In phase 1, 14 megawatt of solar PV system will be installed, which will generate about 22 millions of units per annum, and our total energy requirement will be 30 million units, and out of 32 million units, 22 million units will be generated from solar. So we'll be achieving 65% of energy targets. Then in phase 2, 23 megawatt of solar photovoltaic system will be installed on not only on station rooftops, track walls, boundary walls, then depot buildings, Metro Bhavan, all the rooftops whichever are available will be provided with the solar photovoltaic system. So we are installing this is from in RESCO model, where investment is to be done by private party. We are not incurring even a single penny for our installation, and we are saving 7 to 8 rupees per unit on energy charges, and the installation, design, installation, testing, finance, everything will be done by a private party, that is in RESCO mode. So we are not incurring any penny on the installation, but we are saving about 7 rupees per unit from the solar energy. A PPA, a power purchase agreement, will be signed for 25 years with the private party, and in any metro 40% of its total expenses are O&M, and out of this 40%, 20% of expenses will be saved on by going through renewable energy. So this is the pilot project installed at track wall at the Nagpur Metro premises. Then this is some of the pictures installation of solar photovoltaic system at our various stations. This is at Khapri Metro Station. Then this is as New Airport Metro Station, 112 kilowatt solar system has already been installed. And this is at Airport South Metro Station, where 132 kilowatt of solar photovoltaic system has already been installed in the year 2016. These all three installed in 2016, and this system 172 kilowatt installed at Airport Metro Station, and this is the 273 kilowatt solar photovoltaic system installed at our Metro Bhavan. Cleaning is going on in that picture, so it is just with the help of raw water. So there is no major maintenance cost involved in installation and maintenance of solar photovoltaic system. So this is it. Thank you.